Hi, Tony Zimmer, here today with two of the top 10 finalists for the Federal Engineer of the Year, Lakiva and Mick. I was just hoping that you guys could sort of give you a brief introduction, and then we'll go on with a couple questions.
Hi, sir. I'm Lieutenant Commander Lakiva Gunderson. I am with the United States Navy Naval Facilities Engineering Command. I am a Civil Engineer Corps officer, and I am currently over in Yokosuka, Japan, working as the Production Officer for the Public Works Department.
Excellent.
And I'm Mick Mastalovic. I work with the Tennessee Valley Authority. I'm manager of nuclear fuel supply. So I'm responsible for making sure that our whole fleet of nuclear reactors has enough nuclear materials in it to run and make electricity.
Very important position. Okay, I got a couple questions for you. As federal engineers, many of you are tied in some way to national security. How important is engineering in protecting our national security, both here and abroad? And then the second part of that is, what specific role does engineering play in national security? And do you want to start first?
Sure, sir. I think engineering is very important to national security. As I said, I am overseas at this point in time, and in the Public Works Department, you have a lot of things that you deal with concerning utilities, the infrastructure of the installations, and all of those are aspects of engineering that you need to make sure is spot on and not vulnerable to outside threats or whatever nature. So having that part of engineering in that field is very important.
I agree.
And I guess in my case, while we may not be the tip of the spear, we do support the spear in the sense that the electricity that comes from TVA directly supports either manufacturing or facilities, but also our reactors produce tritium, which is a key component in nuclear weapons. So as part of our strategic deterrent force, we're able to support that as well.
Excellent. There's an enormous amount of interest and discussion about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, lately. What do you think the federal government could or potentially should do to ensure that we get the best and the brightest of our future engineers? And I think I'll switch and go with you.
Switch around?
Yeah.
Well, I think it is important to get students thinking in terms of problem solving. I mean, all of us in engineering school, you have to go through lots and lots of problem sets, but the real spark always came when, for me, for example, was walking into a power plant and having to fix something, where all of a sudden all this theory had to get condensed into a practical solution, and usually under a little duress and time pressure and other things. But the really interesting things, let's say with the STEM schools, teach the theory, but also give them a challenge. Build a robot and have it do this or build this. And so that way they're able to try to put together the different skills that engineers need and people need just to accomplish a task.
That's right, from the actual theory to its application. Excellent.
I'd just like to add on to what he said as well. The Civil Engineer Corps is a strong advocate for the STEM program. We host events and we make sure that we bring the young teens and females, basically. It's for everyone, but we focus on the females to make sure they understand that science doesn't have to be boring. You don't have to sit in one room, but it is a hands-on, and it just gives them a broader spectrum. So I think the more that teenagers and children are able to see that science isn't all about just the dirty work or the not so sexy jobs, then it makes them more eager to want to be a part of it and see that, okay, people can have fun and be, happy and have a personality in the engineering field. So I think it's a very strong piece that we need to broadcast a little more in society.
Excellent, excellent. As a follow-up question, what advice would you give a student or a young engineer who is interested in working for the federal government?
I'd say persistence. I mean, my personal story for coming into the federal government is kind of unique in that when I submitted my application, I was rejected by the HR department. But my supervisor happened to look down at all the applications, picked mine out, and called me in for an interview, and the rest was history. So, if you don't succeed once, just keep trying. And the other one is don't get put off by bureaucracy because it's everywhere. It's just one of these facts of life, and eventually, you will succeed if you're persistent.
And I would definitely say from the military aspect, definitely come in. If that's your desire, even if it's something where you may want to try it for maybe 4 years just to, serve your country and then get out and go into the professional side of it as far as state or country instead of just the government side of the house. But I think if that's your desire, go ahead and push for it. Try to get in there, get your feet wet, see what it is, see what it's like, and if you enjoy it, stick with it.
And then this is just sort of a personal note. I have a brother who got his undergraduate degree in engineering, claimed for years that he wasn't an engineer, but was in the engineering consulting field. And then after years, I'm like, Michael, you got your PE. Come on now, admit it. You're an engineer. You like solving problems. This is a good career.
Yeah.
Okay. So why did each of you pursue engineering licensure? And how has it impacted your career?
I'll take this one first.
You will? Okay.
Well, and I mean, I have a competitive nature. So growing up, I always knew that the engineering field did not have as many females, minorities, period. So, you know, the curiosity aspect of me wanted to know what it was more about, and then also just learning about math and science. I was always good in school with it, so I figured why not give it a try. So I came in, again, was not even deciding to go in the military spectrum, but do my 4 years of college and get out. But once I got in, sessions officers came and recruited me and landed me here, and I've been happy ever since.
Excellent.
And for me, I always liked tinkering with things. And so it was a natural progression, you know, smaller toys to bigger toys to even bigger toys. And then you throw in a little bit of science and engineering, you can really play with stuff. So that was exciting.
Yeah, we're talking nuclear reactors.
Well,
so yeah, big toys. Excellent. So finally, sort of wrapping up here, what engineering invention or milestone would you like to see made possible in the next 10 years? Or potentially the next 25 years?
Well, I'll jump on this one. I mean, small modular reactors, I think.
It was funny. I was thinking,
Yeah.
you know, same thing.
I mean, and the Navy
small
has
modular
been
reactor,
operating them
yeah.
since Admiral Rickover got the Nautilus underwater and tested that. But we have large reactors because economies of scale, but I think small modular, kind of going back, was the way to go into the future as well. Make it simpler, let it be constructed in factories, and solve a lot of issues that way.
Excellent. Any predictions for 25 yet? Out? 25 years out?
Well, maybe we can get into 6-packs of small modulars and stuff like that. 40 years out, I'll say fusion energy, but that's always 40 years out.
Okay, excellent.
I think mine's more on the civil engineering aspect of it, but I'm just looking for more of, and you kind of discussed it earlier, but the water system. If there's some way where, you know, our technology and our experience that we have in the water systems, if it could reach to the other countries, the third world countries that are struggling, where it's not such a place where we have to go over there and help them, but if there was some kind of way or milestone where we're able to get people involved to find a way or a mechanism to get the water to their system so it's not so hard to try to make them figure out how to do it themselves, I think that would be something good. But
right. Well, it's interesting, actually, from an agency standpoint, the Environmental Protection Agency, roughly 10% of the water systems serve 90% of the population. But conversely, you know, there's a lot of water systems out there that are serving just a few people. So the analogy, you know, from that standpoint is using technology and invention to design easy to use water treatment plants that end up helping out not only our society but other, other world societies. So excellent. Well, Lakiva, Mick, we very much appreciate you coming out and answering a few questions with us, and congratulations on your top 10 finalists for the Federal Engineer of the Year.
Thank you, sir.